Hello, and welcome back to the Seen by Few with our continuing Gargoyles coverage. Doing another 4 episodes this week, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of Season 2. With 5 being The Mirror, 6 being The Silver Falcon, 7 being Eye of the Beholder, and 8 being The Vow. All right, so with this one, we tend to break down spoilery bits for this one, so prepare for spoilers and also potentially future spoilers, because if it talks about something in the future, I might mention it bringing up. I'm not necessarily going to bring up specifics, but when I'm like, hey, during this part, they mentioned this thing, that's something hinting at something in the future. So I'm pointing out what is foreshadowing potentially and what it might foreshadow a tiny, tiny bit.
We're also going to rate each episode as we go along, so sorry that we're not rating them all up front and then going into spoilers.
Yeah. Well,
you might have to dip in a little bit if you really, really want to see the ratings, but no one's doing that, so you're fine.
At this point in time, you're either watching Gargoyles, or you've seen Gargoyles, or you're just watching it to support us. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate it. If it's your first time here, bring more friends.
And also, weird video to pick.
What?
It's a weird video to pick if it's your first one. It's episodes 5. You scroll through our YouTube channel and you're like, episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8 of Gargoyle Season 2. That's where I'm starting.
Yeah, you're one of those maniacs that like reads a Choose Your Own Adventure from cover to cover. Just straight through.
Oh, jeez.
That's just not cool, man. Yep.
So, shall we start with The Mirror?
Sure.
Lance, what would you give The Mirror from 0 to 10?
The Mirror is the introduction. Well, was that spoilery if I say that?
No, it's for Todd. It's all spoilery.
Then I will say I would give The Mirror
I mean, it's fine because we're spoiler warning for the whole video. But yes, the one where you get Puck and...
I'd give it an 8.
Okay. I mean, I actually nailed it because I'm good.
I have to change mine because I don't like what I think you were going to give it.
Well, I've also mentioned before that I grade these on what I call the kid show curve, in that it's a show for kids. It's nostalgic for me because I watched it when I was a kid. I tend to be maybe a bit more generous with these ones than I would other stuff because my standards for a cartoon are a little bit lower.
Yeah, okay.
I suppose.
So, Nick, what would you give The Mirror?
This one's a 10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay, I was close.
Okay. Because it is... I don't know if it's my favorite episode of the series, but it is at least among my favorite episodes. I don't remember if there's other ones I give a 10 or not. Because I think I've mentioned a couple times. Last year, almost a year ago, I decided I was going to watch all of Gargoyles again, and I gave them ratings and stuff like that next to it.
Well, when you brought up doing like a review for Gargoyles, I was like, fuck yeah, because it gives me like an excuse to go back and watch all of them through again.
Yeah. And then you get to watch them with Jackson as well.
And he's into it now.
That's good.
Yeah, he watched all the episodes with me today.
Did he like Puck?
It's hard to tell. When Jackson's into something, when he likes something, he's very quiet and he just watches. So like the first 3 episodes, he was just very quiet and he was just watching. And then like when the moon would show in the background or something, he'd go, moon. I go, yeah, moon. And then, but yeah, he was digging it.
Oh.
And then at the end of the episodes, he was just like, Daddy, more. I was like, okay, here we go, next episode. And then by the last episode, he was calling for Blue, and I was like, nope, Daddy's got to plow through this stuff, bud. We got to watch
one
this.
more, buddy.
Yeah, we got to watch one more. And then he buttoned down, and we went through the last episode, and then I went to Bluey.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for our Bluey review coming soon.
Maybe your Amber's Bluey review.
Probably.
If you really want.
Well, good show. I had one of my coworkers this week tell me, he's like, dude, I watched like 4 episodes of Bluey. I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. I was like, you have no kids at all. He was like, yeah, we just watched it. I was like, yep. Sounds right.
I don't suppose there was that we got blazed and watched a couple episodes of Bluey.
Nope.
Oh, nice.
It's just a good show. It's funny because it's a kid's show, but I think it's actually there to teach parents how to parent too. So
okay, and don't use this one to learn how to parent.
No, not at all. Not even a little.
Yeah.
So spoilers.
Yes. So in this one, I kind of like the beginning part where Demona goes to collect a mirror. Supposedly, the belonged to Lord Oberon or whatever.
Oh, Lady Titania.
Or Lady Titania's mirror. So it's part of that whole ancestry where I think this is the first time we're introduced to the idea of Oberon's children being the third race, which I kind of enjoyed too. Like, I think it was Broadway who was just like, oh yeah, Oberon's children. You got humans, you got gargoyles, and you got Oberon's children. Why don't you know this? And she's just like, oh. You can just kind of see her brain trying to rewire and be like, okay, that's real, I guess.
Well, it's like the thing. So there's a couple of things that jumped out at me, and I tried like hell to remember all of them. But the one thing I do remember is in the beginning of the episode when Elisa is posing as a guard, and she goes in the mirror and she's like,
And she does like that, yeah.
and then when she puts her hand back down, the mirror's still doing this.
Yeah, the mirror's still doing it.
So I don't know if that was like a glitch or it wasn't a glitch.
That's on purpose.
Was that on purpose?
Yeah, obviously. So I mean, it hints that there's something inside the mirror, and later Puck comes out of the mirror.
Okay. I just thought it was lazy. I just thought the animators were being lazy.
It stuck to me as like when like if someone's looking at a mirror and they look away and then the reflection looks away like a little later than you expect. It's something spooky. So I attribute it to being something spooky.
Okay.
But also that pose she does, I think Demona does in future. Like someone drew the thing and like I know how to make them do this pose, and then they had to make Demona do that pose, and they're like, I know how to do that pose. I'll point it out when we get there.
I'm still sure that it was kind of like,
I just mean, you know,
boss, we fucked up in this frame.
No.
They'll think it's spooky. Just leave it.
No, I don't believe that.
All right. No, I mean, I know at first I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like, maybe they're just being lazy. But then again, the animation in this particular episode is not very lazy.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I think all four of these ones was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that Enter Macbeth situation where you're like, there's something off about this.
Yes. So yeah, though.
So that's neat.
Yes. I liked Puck.
Yeah.
Voiced by Brent Spiner.
Yeah, another Star Wars alum or Star Trek alum.
So this is very spoilery for future episodes. So, but I'm just going to ask anyways because I've been wanting to ask and I didn't want to look it up. Mm-hmm. So Brent Spiner, voice of Puck.
Yes.
Owen is Puck.
That's correct.
But he's not voiced by Brent Spiner.
That's correct. Owen is voiced by Brooklyn, whose actor's name is off the top. I can't remember off the top of my head, but is Brooklyn in this episode? That's a good question.
Yes. Even if just briefly.
Yeah, even if just briefly. He's not in this episode.
Really?
Broadway is the one that said, no, there it is. Jeff Bennett.
Okay.
Does Owen.
Okay.
And several other characters. He's kind of one that fills in a bunch of minor characters.
So,
as well as being Brooklyn.
So I know that because you've watched all the way through them and now we're watching again, she said something that stuck out to me, and I'm not sure if I just missed it or not, but she said, you serve a human.
You served the human, yeah.
But she's talking about Xanatos.
Yes, which means she knows that Owen is Puck.
Which also means that they haven't revealed it on the show. That's a seed.
Yes.
Okay.
That's some epic foreshadowing.
Okay.
Where, like, he shows up and she's like, you serve the human, you can serve me.
Okay. Because I caught that too, and I was like, did I just miss that reveal somehow? But
no, that's epic. That's
good writing.
That's epic foreshadowing.
That's good writing. That's good planning.
And I think it's subtle enough that you're going to, like, hear it and think, like, whatever. I don't know what that means.
Well, it could be talking about Macbeth or, you know.
Or maybe it could be referring to more specifically, like, a Midsummer Night's Dream. That's not a play I've ever read. So I'm not sure what Puck is like in those. But, like the show pulls a lot from Shakespeare, which is kind of how I learned my Shakespeare, which is bad. Because I know Romeo and Juliet and Gargoyles. So, like, what's the story of Macbeth? Well, the story of Macbeth involves Demona and hunting. Okay, no, stop that. That's not how that goes. I'm like, it's how it goes to me.
Honestly, I like your version better. Just personally. But yeah, I really dug this episode. I liked the whole transfix of what would the humans look like as gargoyles? What would the gargoyles look like as humans? Although, I have to say, the gargoyles as humans looked bad.
Yeah, kind of silly.
Yeah. Like Brooklyn and what was it? Like basically just all of them, but like Lexington. Oh my dude, I'd roll that dude for his lunch money. He just looked so bad.
Well, you compare Lexington's size to all the other gargoyles. He's just like a scrawny little gargoyle that's smart.
Yeah.
You turn him into a human, he's a scrawny little guy. I mean, he's still got like the rib line or whatever it shows that, you know, they're not. They're not ripped per se, but he's not like. I don't know. He's kind of scrawny.
He just put his haircut. He had like that box haircut and shit. I would pants that fucking dude in a heartbeat. And then Goliath still had like the epic fucking like tall mane and shit with like that was one of the most boss fucking.
He looked like a barbarian to me.
Kind of, but it's like what's the haircut? Fucking party in the bag.
Oh, the mullet. I think Xanatos has a mullet. I wouldn't say Goliath has a mullet. Because sometimes when you see like Xanatos move his hair, it's suggested that like the hair up top is shorter than his little ponytail. Which I hope's not, because you can kind of get away with it in animation where you're like, oh, he's just got a long hair and a ponytail. But sometimes you're like, no, maybe he's got a mullet.
I don't know. It seems like sometimes it's kind of droops down the side, so I almost feel like he's got like long hair throughout. But you know what? Who knows what Xanatos' plans are? He planned it that way. That haircut eventually distracted the security guard, which allowed him to...
Although, speaking of good plans, I like Demona's plan in this one. She goes in to try to get the mirror. She's like, I'm probably gonna get caught. So she hired her other group to come, throw a blanket over the mirror and just kind of take it away while she's running them off.
That lady sure does have good planning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we got to see how she lives. Like, she's got her own little spooky matter, and people are like, come up here, you push the button, your money comes out of a little gargoyle face, and take your money and leave.
Well, you can. Yeah. It's like, bitch. Is that my tip?
Which I know you said before, like, Demona's awful, but I love it anyway. She's toxic as shit, but I enjoy her.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just, she is, you know how some TV shows will do the thing where you get like a certain person who was a good guy and then they turn heel, and then later on they want you to fucking like the person again. But like whatever,
like with Angel and Buffy.
Yeah, but like Angel, in my opinion, well, okay, let me say this for fucking anybody that's Angel fans. I don't remember a lot of what happened in Buffy and Angel. I watched all of them with my wife. I've seen them exactly one time. But to me, he didn't do anything that was so egregious that you couldn't pull him back in.
He murdered people.
He's a vampire. It's his nature.
She's a gargoyle. It's her nature.
I mean, hold on. He started as a vampire in the show. And then he became a good guy, and he stayed a good guy until he had that moment of true love.
He started as a good guy, and then you see hints of what he used to be like, or you hear about what he used to be like, and then this is kind of like, no, this is what he was before then.
I mean, chronologically is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like he was a bad guy, then he became a good guy.
He was like a drunk, became an evil ass vampire, became a tortured soul.
But I mean, it's what is it? Birds got to fly, dogs got to eat. I mean, that's just what he did. He was a vampire.
Wolves got to hunt.
Yeah, but it's like I don't like the shows where it's like, okay, bad example. There's a character on that show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who started off as a good guy.
Okay, yeah.
Grant, I think his name was.
Yeah, I was going to say Ward, but I think it's Grant Ward.
Yeah, and then he kills somebody that's like a higher up.
I don't think anyone cares about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
If I just shocked and appalled you, bad person.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spoilers, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not canon. Stop it. But yeah, then they wanted you to basically like him again. It was
screw that.
And it's like Ben Solo.
I don't think they're ever trying to make you like Demona, which is a good thing. They're just trying to be like, look, she. I don't know. She reminds me of like those mustache twirling evil people, where sometimes you might feel bad for her, but you're never like, she could keep going, keep on doing what you're doing, like, 'cause she's trying to destroy humanity.
Well, to me, she had a Xanatos moment in an episode a little further down the line, but we'll go into it when we get there. Just remind me, but I'll just say Phoenix to let you know what I'm referring to.
So, and later in this thing for Vows or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, but yeah, I don't dig her character because she is literally so one note right now.
Yeah.
Like her mission is kill the gargoyles, and she doesn't really give a shit how she does it, and she's like the worst shot in the fucking world. Yeah. She always has to use the gun, and then when she ends up employing something else into the service, it goes horribly wrong for her. So it's like she's literally a Keystone Cop.
Everyone's an awful shot in this show. Well, yeah, because you can't shoot your heroes unless you're Broadway.
True, but it's just I don't know. Other than the fact that it's voiced by Marina Sirtis, I love her to death, but it's like she's just so one note. Like when she shows up, it's like, oh, okay, I wonder if she's gonna try and kill Goliath, But then they do flashbacks where it's just like, I love you, I commit myself to you, and be like, something went horribly wrong, and it was just kind of like, okay, you want to throw in with the humans, bitch? We're security guards. That's what we do. It's our job. We protect them. But yeah. But I really did dig this episode quite a bit. The animation I thought was top notch.
I think it's just kind of a fun story where you get to see look, here's Eliza as a gargoyle, and here's the gargoyles as humans, and here's all the humans as gargoyles.
Yeah, and I just like how he kept fucking with her. And one of the things that I did not like is when he turned the gargoyles into humans, but then he left Bronx out of it.
I don't think Bronx was there, I suppose.
No, I guess not at first,
And
but
then
it's
showed
like
up later.
when they were going down the street, I saw him, and I was like, well, I guess they didn't change Bronx. And then later he changed him to that big shaggy dog thing, and I was like, because I want to see what they look like, you know?
Which I thought was also just a fun scene, too. Like, the dog is, or Bronx is leaping at him, he turns into a dog, which is still a dog leaping at him. He's like, guy.
Yeah. But, like, I like Puck a lot. I think he's a fun character.
I also just enjoy that he's just screwing with people because it's fun. Like, he could be doing stuff that obviously could be murking fools left and right, but he's just kind of like, your little axe is spinning at you, and the little rope you're holding is now it's a vine, and it's trying to grab you, and he's just kind of like dancing in the background, being like, yay.
He's an agent of chaos.
Yeah, it's just chaos.
Well, I just like at the beginning of the episode, he's like, this doesn't sound like fun. And then like halfway through the episode, he's like, okay, this is pretty fun. And by the end, he was like, what a merry romp.
Yeah. So a big thing at the end where Demona is upset, and Puck is like, man, you gave me a great time. What can I give you for such a great time?
Just go.
And she's pissy with him. Don't be pissy with a fae, because he gave her a gift with a cost. It's like, here's what you asked for, to the letter, not to the spirit.
So I gotta say, I don't blame her. Because if it was like, okay, I want you to write a cake with this on it, and then you wrote some bullshit, and you're like, that's what you said.
That's what the point of fae.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that
I want to be able to walk around it and during the daytime. There you go.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to turn to stone during you got to fix it. You got to be. You can't leave that wiggle room.
I mean, it's just to me, it's kind of like if you hire a person and they keep fucking shit up, and then when they're leaving, they're like, well, thanks for the job. What can I do for you? It's like, you are so incompetent at what you do. I don't want you to do anything for me. So it's kind of like, oh, what can I do for you? And it's like, why? So you could fuck me one more time on the way out the door? I don't think so. Yeah. You could just go ahead and leave.
You take a fae, you imprison him, and you're like, yeah, whatever, go away. I don't want to deal with you anymore. It's like, well, screw you too, buddy.
Yeah.
So he gives you his little parting gift.
Yeah, but the episode was fantastic. I think that was one of my favorite episodes of all time when I was watching it back in the day. I never realized at that point it was fucking Data though. So
yeah, I didn't know Star Trek people at this point in time. I was just like, Puck is fun.
Does Captain Picard ever do a voice in the show?
No, he doesn't.
Fucking weak.
He could have done a voice, but I don't know if they could have got him, because King Arthur shows up eventually. And that would have been perfect for him.
I'm pretty sure that they could have just walked the microphone onto the set of Next Generation, and they were just like, okay, this week you're going to say, who are you? Michael Dorn. He's like, who are you? I was like, thank you, Cold Stone. All right, appreciate it. Marina, I want you to say, Gargoyles, kill him. Gargoyles, kill him. Do you want to say anything? No. Okay, fine. Sorry, Captain. My bad. It just the entire fucking cast of that show is on there. I'd like to know if Will Wheaton did a fucking voice.
I don't believe so, but I could be wrong.
Well, it's just it seems like the entire bridge crew was on that mofo. So
yes. So, is there anything else we want to add about the Mirror?
No, not really. It's a good episode.
It's good fun. Which means next up is Silver Falcon. So shall we make our predictions? What does Lance think about the Silver Falcon? I did already pick my number.
Silver Falcon.
Being another Broadway episode in Dracon, and you get a little bit more of Bluestone as well.
Okay.
What would you give the Silver Falcon?
I would give the Silver Falcon a 6.
Look at that. Someone's getting to know Lance's number score.
Yep. How about you?
I think I'm also gonna give it a. Yeah, I think I'm also gonna give this one a 6.
Okay.
Because it's okay. It's got interesting stuff to this particular one, I think, but it's not one of those ones that I'm super jazzed.
It was fucking boring. It was just okay.
It's got stuff in it that's kind of neat, but
it's like
it's got stuff I think is kind of neat. You show up at the apartment, and it's like the old accountant turns out to be the Dracon. What was his name? DD something Dracon. I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. He's been in that office the entire time and couldn't see the thing out his own window. That's interesting. I kind of like that. They go to Matt Bluestone's apartment and they capture the guy. I kind of like Broadway ripping open the elevator and just pulling it back up and being like, hey, here you go.
Yeah. What are you doing? Being your partner. Yeah.
And that's you're destroying a bunch of shit. And then for him to be like, I'm just going to check the computer, and the guy is like, wait, don't check the computer. For later, Matt to be like, man, you blew up my apartment.
Yeah, it was another buddy episode with Broadway and Elisa.
You get to see that Elisa keeps her gun locked up now.
Oh God, yes. Especially, it seems like he's like over there all the time now. So
Well, I imagine it's that you've got 3 brothers and 1 TV, and also your old grandfather who wants to watch TV. In the day before the internet, what do you do with your time when you're not like?
true, but I've got to say, I think Elisa's cat's dead. Because you never see it again, as far as I know.
No, she'll comes back up, I think.
Okay, well, I mean, I figure she's like having to feed Broadway, so she didn't have enough money for cat food. That fucking cat's just dead. Because I don't remember seeing it like in any of the recent episodes where we get a glimpse in her apartment.
Yeah, I don't think they've shown Cagney yet, but I'm pretty sure we see Cagney again.
No, this episode was just okay because it had another one of those. Yeah, you did the one thing you weren't supposed to do. You messed with my partner, and like I knew. And when they did that at the beginning, I was like, okay, Broadway's going to do that to the guy. But it was a lot more of the same. And I don't like Dracon as a character. I don't like his crew.
That tends to go with me not caring about organized crime, which is why generally when you're like, maybe we should watch this movie, I'm like, do you want me to watch this movie? Because it's about gangsters, and I don't like gangsters.
Some of it's neat. I do like some of it, but the main thing I didn't like about the episode is like when they snuck down and the guy was like, oh, it's all part of the plan, and blew up the fucking thing. And I was just kind of like, okay, interesting. But then when she's like, this is the best I've got for you, and like collapses the thing down on top of him, dude's made of stone. What if his arm would have fell off?
Yes.
Like, there was no thought in that whatsoever because the entire time she's like, oh, it's the best I got done. And she starts collapsing. I was like, no.
Don't do that.
But yeah,
it's you kind of got the invincibility thing going because you're coming down the stairs and they show C4 lining the top right next to they should have blown up.
Yeah, and those wings are made of apparently like triple Kevlar or something like that. I don't know. It was an okay episode.
Okay.
Wasn't my favorite. The bad guy to me is just not interesting.
Yeah.
I did like the twist of his dad and everything like that. I did like the twist of the Falcon thing. But like when she looks in the bag, she's like, "Oh, here's your jewels right here." I was like, oh, "Okay, double fuck, got it." You know. But it was a neat little nod.
Yeah, there's some other stuff I like. I mean, her seeing Broadway and just like jumping down, and Dracon being like, "Oh, jeez, maybe we could scrape it off the floor."
My jewels. Yeah.
I do like the callback that when they leave the note and Broadway uncrumples it, you can kind of see he's learning how to read.
Oh, yeah.
Their re-hit idea. They're at least showing progress in that, Broadway and Hudson couldn't read. At least now you can see Broadway is getting a little bit further along. So
Lexington's tired of their shit. So he's just teaching them how to read now, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else are you doing? I mean, he could be hanging out in the library with Goliath because Goliath's got a whole ass public library.
That's true.
To go read at.
What's in the clock tower?
I think you've got the police station, which is the clock tower, and I think I don't know if it's a library. But like right next to the police station. So I've always assumed that he was just going to the library after closing time, because I don't know why else he has access to a library, other than it being the public library. I hope.
Yeah, and he's starting to build his. Was it this episode where he was starting to build his Batman memoranda cave?
That's the next one.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that one then.
But is there any other interesting things you want to bring up about?
The most interesting thing I could say about this episode is I fell asleep for about 3 minutes. And then I went back and watched those 3 minutes and was like, oh, okay, here, focus. It was a good one. It's a decent one, I should say.
It's fine.
And I love Broadway. But yeah, as far as like, to me, it was a filler episode. Every other episode we watched, to me, had a direct effect of the storyline of Gargoyles. This one was just...
It's a character episode. It's building up the character of Broadway, and it's building up the villain of Dracon. Dracon. Yeah, not Draco.
I'm sure this is the last time we see him, right?
Who, Dracon?
Yeah. No. Oh, okay.
No, there's more. He's not in a bunch, but he's in enough. I don't know if we ever see Dee Dee again. Who is Dominic Dracon? That's the one. But we definitely see Tony Dracon again.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's really good having the misogynist over was it confident bad guy that's constantly getting his fucking nuts handed to him.
Oh yeah,
And then he's acting the same way in the next episode. I'd be like, bitch.
No, I mean he ends up being a bit of misogynist and stuff too. So seeing him get his comeuppance is kind of fun. Oh, what's that?
Never learns. What?
The person who voices Maria Chavez, the detective, is Melina in Total Recall.
Really?
Yeah. So Rachel, I don't know, Ticotin?
And she does...
And she was Melina in Total Recall.
And who's she in Gargoyles?
She's the chief of police, Marina Chavez.
Ah, okay. Cool.
I don't think I ever noticed that.
Good on you, Marina Chavez. All right.
Meow, meow.
Anything else for this episode?
No, I think I've pointed out parts that I think are interesting. Look, we're getting Cagney. Meow, meow. The cat's hungry.
She has food.
But it's the
It just seems to be the thing she likes to do every weekend now.
come and meow.
Well, it's the thing. Come on. You're not crippled. Come on.
Or not.
I'm just gonna come in here and destroy this 1 minute. I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
I don't know what you were gonna. I'm not in your head.
Yeah, no. I had a point of something. For the love of God, just come up.
There we go.
Love you so much. Okay, go back to mama. All right. Anyways, I don't think there's anything else.
No, we can move on to the next one, which was
Okay.
Eye of the Beholder.
Yes.
Yes, Eye of the Beholder's up next. Did I give for Eye of the Beholder to give? Yeah. You gave the mirror an 8. Yeah, okay, we're gonna stick with that number. Lance, what would you give Eye of the Beholder?
I would give Eye of the Beholder a 9.
Oh wow, I went somewhere in between.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we talking? This is the Oberon's Eye, right?
Yeah, the Eye vote.
I vote. Yeah, okay. Yes, I'd give it a 9.
With Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I give it a 9.
All right.
How about you?
I think I'm gonna give this one an 8.
8? Okay.
Because it's good. I do enjoy this one quite a bit.
I thought this was the best animated episode out of all of them.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed the overdue of Xanatos going... Him looking horrified like he didn't know what the fuck was going on. And be like, oh, I'm sorry, did you not have a plan for this?
No, it's obviously like he heard it brings out the inner person or whatever. He's like, okay, whatever.
Well, I mean, even then he tries to make it seem like he had a plan. He's like, okay, we go to plan A.
Oh, he's got all his plans and they all keep failing.
Yeah, and it was like, he's like, let's go to plan A. And I was like, what? Putting it on her in the first place wasn't plan A, or don't you mean plan B? And then he tries to play it off again. You get the Gargoyles to do this for us, and then she does this, and we get the item. And he's like, I failed to see how it's going to be easier to get the stuff back from the Gargoyles.
Yeah.
And then finally, they call him on his bullshit, and he's like, you're right. I have no fucking clue what I'm going to do.
Which makes me wonder, if they're introducing this, is it's pretty much every time some shit happens, does he just put the silver lining on it and be like, well, I may have lost, but here's the upside in which I benefit. Mm-hmm. So maybe he doesn't plan for that shit. Maybe it's just more of, well, I got to test out, my machine or whatever. So there's the upside. Well, or I got to do this, and there's the upside.
But I mean, who's he?
But then he acts like it's a.
Who's he telling that to? The only other person that's ever in the room with him is Owen. Yeah. Owen thinks he's cool anyways, or at least he's paid to think he's cool. So it's like, oh, I don't think so, Owen. We know this about this, and we got the data, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you don't have to tell me that stuff, man.
Well, he might be telling it to himself in a way.
Yeah.
You tell Owen, and if Owen's like, oh, yes, sir, and he's like, oh, see, then it must be true because my guy who follows me believes me.
Early in the career, Owen would walk out and he'd be like, and then finally he'd find out if he monologues out loud to his butler. He's just like, when Owen walks out, he's like, yeah, fucking right, So I don't know. I gave this episode such a high rating because. I really liked the werewolf animation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought the animation in particular in this episode was really good.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody has been watching any of this stuff for long enough, they know that I love tiny details. Mm-hmm. And I loved when Xanatos landed in his armor and it went shh. And after the rocket shut off, it did that quick shh. They didn't have to put that in there, but they did.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. To me, that's the extra mile. Super tiny, did not influence my score, but I appreciated it.
Yeah. I enjoyed seeing Elisa and being Belle to Goliath's
Right.
the Beast, essentially.
You just liked it when she took off the train.
No, and draped it over Fox, whatever, and had
Yeah.
a little mini skirt underneath, like she was expecting.
Like the garters and everything like that. And be like, who are you wearing that for?
So I wonder if it is I'm a cop, I'm going downtown, there might be issues, this is nice and pretty, but I need to be able to run real quick, so throw this shit off, have the gun underneath or whatever, and be ready to go.
True. Yeah. No, that's a great point. Always a cop. You're always on duty.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like, look what I drew for. It's like, dude, print it.
The thing that I thought was a little preposterous about this is when, like, why was the tat still there?
I don't know that they needed to. Again, I guess it's for kids. You need to, like, show it immediately so the kid can be like, oh, that's Fox.
Why didn't anybody else seem to realize that?
I think it's there for the kids. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know. Because
I don't know. It's very, very telling that you would think someone would look at it and go like, man, this werewolf has the same tattoo that we've seen on Fox before. And she's a gigantic wolf, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's the other thing. It's like,
she's where Fox.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, like, that just seemed like a missed opportunity. Somewhere Wolf was like, what the fuck, dude? That's my monster.
Come on, man.
But then again, maybe that thing just makes you turn into a giant wolf unless they round on it again later.
They round on it again. It like Xanatos says, it brings out the inner you or whatever.
Well, I guess when she joined the team, Wolf was taken. She's like, oh no, fucking Fox. Sure, why not?
She's like, I've got this fox tattoo on my face. I guess it looks like, or I've got this wolf tattoo on my face. I guess it looks like a fox. My name's Fox.
Here, I'll just point up his ears a bit more and draw a little fox nose on it. Fuck it, I don't know. But yeah, I really dug this. I liked seeing an episode where they caught Xanatos out of his element, and he had to basically go to them and be like, please help me.
Yeah.
I love her. Please help me. And the line at the end when he was like, well, now you know my weakness. And he's like, only you would think that love is a weakness. I was like, oh, fucking burn.
And then he does that like little scowl, like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. Like,
got me.
Oh, it's in my head. I saw that whole meme of like, only you would think that love is, and then that one kid that like drops the microphone and all the other kids are like, oh, I was like, oh shit. He's been working on that fucking line.
Yeah.
Like, I almost felt like Goliath was like, he delivered the line, walked off camera, was like, because like he doesn't ever get to fucking burn Xanatos, and this time he did.
That's also sometimes I think like Goliath is a hero and Elisa's like, I mean, we don't have to help him. It's Xanatos, right? And it's like, no, we should probably help him. But like, what about Fox? Fox sucks too. I mean, we should probably, I don't know, maybe we should help her too.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, Goliath always makes the right choice. Yeah, he always makes the goodly choice.
Maybe it goes along with your, well, it did bring me back to life. I mean,
So I don't even necessarily know it's that. Like, there's something I want to bring.
You just do what's right.
Yeah, no, he always does the right thing, and I think that's what makes Demona so pissed off about him.
Yeah.
You know, because she has like basically been like, she's the emperor.
If she does the exact opposite choices that Goliath would make.
Yeah, anybody that makes a bad choice in front of Demona, she's like, good.
Excellent.
Yeah, but like Goliath always has to be the fucking Boy Scout. I like him for that, but at the same time, it's just kind of like.
Well, I also, he's like that, but then he's still got those rage moments too, where he's like a barbarian that took paladin levels. Where sometimes you're like, I want to do the good thing, and he did what? Rage.
He's the paladin that took one level of barbarian. So yeah, it's just so he could rage, and then it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to punch you right in the nose, and he's kind of like, well, I'm one level, but I still get 2 rages. But yeah, this was by far. Oh, wait, what did I give the Puck episode? Did I give that a 9 as well?
I think it was an 8.
8? Okay. This was by and large probably my favorite episode of all of them because I love the werewolf animation. I love the way the werewolf sounded. It did feel kind of spooky in places.
Sure. So I think my gripe with this episode is some of the wolf noises sounded like they were blowing out the mic.
Yeah. Well, like when they were getting electrocuted or whatever.
Yeah, and it just sounds like very loud and peaky, like it wasn't recorded particularly well.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
Some of the roars were fine. Some of the roars were just kind of like, oh, God, my fucking ears.
Yeah, and I thought some of that stuff was actually going to scare Jackson, but he seemed to be completely fine all the way through it. So that kind of surprised me because the werewolf did look kind of creepy.
Yeah, especially like when Elisa shows up at the convenience store or whatever, and she's walking in slowly, and you kind of hear the thing like moving around and eating in the background, and then it comes around the corner, it's like, rah.
Yeah, yeah. Jackson was just kind of like, that's a big dog.
Maybe just because it looks like a dog.
I guess. Well, he was just watching it, and like I kept waiting to see if he would jump or anything like that. He was just steadily watching. I was like, he's either asleep or he's enjoying the episode. And then finally he looked back at me and was like, yeah, I see it, man. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, look at that big dog, man.
And he's probably like, what's up with the face tattoo? And I was like, I don't know. They drew it for you, buddy. I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Do you remember the way Fox looks? There it is, right there.
But
they essentially wrote it on her face.
But yeah, I appreciated this episode very much because there are certain tropes that eat my fucking guts out if you go back and watch some of the episodes. But like, this is the one time where Xanatos had to be like, please help me.
My mistake. I messed up.
Please help me.
I thought bring out her inner self might mean she'd be like flips better or something.
I don't know. Yeah. And then like, I also like the fact that he got the thing off her and Goliath was like, hand it over. And he was just like, okay. And he gave it to him. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought that was interesting instead of like Xanatos just being like, I don't think so, not today, Goliath. And then shooting up into the fucking sky with his armor again.
Be more like, I helped you. Give me the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
You don't get to have it anymore.
Yeah, I don't trust you with it.
I'll add it to my vault.
Yeah, but like I thought this episode was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I like the costumes that the Gargoyles had too.
Yeah, where it's the guy, one guy was like, "Oh, a costume on a costume. That's cool."
Yeah, that's dope, man. And then of course you had the person that showed up as a werewolf. Rawr, and Goliath's like, "I'll fucking kill you." He's like, "Dude,
come on, man."
Yeah, not cool. But yeah, it was a good one.
I guess a minor other little point is Xanatos and Fox get engaged in this episode, which will lead into the next episode. It's like, marry me. Here's your engagement gift, the Eye of Odin. And the next episode, Vows, where they get married.
You know, I mean, they're not fucking around.
No, yeah. It'd be like, why would he wait for what he wants? He's not the sort of person that waits.
Yeah, but like, I don't... Are we talking about the next episode now?
Are we done with
Eye
of the Beholder? Let's want to roll into Vows.
Yeah, because I've got some bones to pick here. So
sure. So, did I pick? No, I did not pick for Vows. I think I was going to do there. So,
hang on,
and let me make sure my own number's right. So, once you start writing this down, you kind of externalize it out of your head, and you're like, do I remember what I liked about it? Okay. Ready?
All right. Yep.
What would you give Vows?
7.
Okay. I went a little low.
Okay. How about you? What would you give Vows?
Last one's another 8, I think.
An 8? Okay. I wanted to use it somewhere else. Sorry.
Okay. There we go.
So, but yeah, so I had problems with this episode.
Sure. That's another one of those, I have the perfect plan style episodes.
And even then, like, it was like I have the perfect plan and I didn't even really know it was happening, but still it worked out perfectly for me in every regard. Where it was like it was Demona's plan. Like she had the thing. So it's like I didn't really know if he knew that she had it.
Probably.
Because he looked really fucking surprised when she used it. Like cuz Wolf and him were standing or Fox and him were standing there and she used it, which pulled in Goliath, and they looked like they were very surprised that it was happening. And then the dad runs over, is like, "Fuck it, me too."
I wonder if part of it was like because he knew to invite Demona and Goliath, because I'm sure at some point in time Demona's like, "Oh, he's got the other half of this artifact that I've got," and it's kind of like, "Well, I'll bring him in, and then you'll take us back in time." And she's like, bullshit, I'm going back myself." He's like, fuck," and then rushes forward to go with her. Yeah. He's like, "I have to go back in time."
Yeah, I guess. We'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
Are we back? No. Yeah, we're back. Okay.
Cool. So, sorry, I had baby interruption and had to go intercede real quick.
Yes.
And I remembered what I was going to say earlier before the cat interrupted me. I am a human barca lounger in this house. If my son's not laying on my chest, my cat is. If my cat's not, then the dog wants to. And when the dog's not, Amber, I guess, starts to feel like she's left out. She's like, "You want me to come over there and lay on you too?" So it's like, there's something always laying on me in this house. Anyways, I think what I was saying before we paused it was...
Yes, about the vow.
Right.
And the gate, Phoenix Gate.
Yeah, so like she gates him back to the past.
Yeah.
And naturally it works in Xanatos' favor.
Of course.
He gets to pull out fresh and fly kung fu moves on medieval dumbasses that look like the fucking Klan.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened. I mean, it must have been a plan because he's like, I have to wear my pen, and then of course,
Well, again, it was all written down for him, which is the thing that the show kind of introduces. It's essentially time loops. Because how did Xanatos get rich? He gave himself the money. And how did he get the money? Well, he gave it to himself. And you just kind of, you've got things that exist in a loop, and how does the loop get created? I don't know that that's ever answered or explained. It's just a thing that somehow picked up.
I don't know. It's just,
and we'll get other time loops too.
it was yet another episode where it was just like, yes, everything worked perfectly and as I wanted it to. And
at least this time he was like, no, I got a list in the mail that said A to B to B to B to C and C to D.
Well, I've always accused him of reading the scripts for every episode.
And this one he literally does. It's like, don't worry, Dad, I read the script. I'm a self-made man because I mailed myself the money in the future. When I was in the past. My future self in the past mailed me money. That gave me my first 10K.
What do you need all this for? All this richly... You should be a poor fisherman like your father. Oh my God, is this my bed? Oh, Jesus.
Dad, I live in a castle on a skyscraper. You can like it or you can get the hell.
Yeah, right? It's just...
Although I like the little note that they're from Bar Harbor.
What's that?
They're from Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor?
Bar Harbor.
Bar Harbor?
Yeah, Maine.
I did not realize that.
Well, they said it in this episode.
Oh.
It was like you should be a fisherman up in Bar Harbor. They didn't say Bar Harbor.
I don't even know where Bar Harbor is, so.
Oh, it's on the coast, a little bit up Maine. I don't remember going, but I'm pretty sure I've been there before.
Another lobster fisherman.
Yes, could have been.
Because apparently that's the only thing that comes out of Maine. Lobster. But yeah, it was I forget what the bone I had to pick was, but this would be one of the first items that starts building the Rogues Gallery collection. Yeah.
So at the end of this episode, you see him like go down the line, or maybe it was the beginning where you see Arcade or the Grimoire, Markendorm, Phoenix Gate, or Eye of Odin, and then bang, Phoenix Gate.
Yeah, and there was something else too. There was a fourth thing, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
Not in his thing anyway.
No.
You might be thinking of something else that I'm not thinking of, but there's like those three items, and those three items come up again, and they're key.
I thought it might have been something to do with Coldstone, but I don't remember.
Oh yeah, he was in there too. When he opens the door, you see the shadow of Coldstone's face. Okay. Then he walks past the Grimnorm. Then he walks past the.
Okay, Coldstone is like his giant penny.
Well, it's the after the virus, the robot deactivated. He keeps it in storage in the clock tower.
No, I'm just gonna keep this psychopath in my house just in case he wakes up and just be like, Goliath, my brother, I'm going to fucking murder you.
Yeah, there's only a 1 in 3 chance. It's like keeping a bomb that when it activates, there's a 1 in 3 chance it explodes.
Oh, well, I like those odds.
But that bomb is your brother.
Still, anyways.
Yes.
What did anything particularly stand out to you in the episode? Like,
we get.
I know it's another Demona episode, so
this one's I don't know, young Demona and old Demona kind of like arguing with each other, thinking, okay, whatever. But I think what is interesting is you see young Demona interacting with the Archmage, who is kind of apparently she's his apprentice, which is how she learned to read. It's how she learned to cast magic.
He's a fucking dick to her.
It's why one of the reasons she probably started out hating humans friggin' immediately. Is it like, hey, this guy's teaching me? And it's like, you know how wonderful it is that I'm teaching you this, you horrible monstrosity. So she's getting like down talked to for like getting the privilege of being like this guy's apprentice.
So why do it? If you don't want to teach them, why do it?
Yeah, I don't know why he is doing it. Why she is doing it is because it's power, I assume.
Yeah, but I mean...
But why would he do it? I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like it's teaching Gargoyles. I know you're going to be a monster one day, but let me show you how to fucking run a really good propaganda content. It's just, I don't know. It's if you think that they're a monster, it's like, why teach them? Especially since he was a massive douchebag. Again, the humans are the worst thing in the show. And then Demona is the second.
It's every time there's an awful person, it's like she gets it. But it's kind of like when you're a bad person, you bring it out of other people, and they're immediately bad people to you, and it's kind of like who blames who. Like, so I've met people who are kind of like, I'm not going to treat you with respect, unless you treat me with respect. And that gets you in the cycle of, well, why would they treat you with respect if you're not going to treat them with respect? You start at a time of treating each other with respect, and then eventually turning the treating of them into actual respect. You start out being nice to people, even if they've not yet earned it, and then take it away when they either no longer earned it or whatever.
Right.
You can't just start off like, why would I respect you? Like, just act like you do, and then change your mind later if necessary.
Well, just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
And then you'll find common ground eventually. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I 100% agree with that.
So if you're not going to give them an inch, why would you expect them to give you an inch? Because you're not the main character. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's like I agree with you. Like the whole let's get married, and then they just get married, and it's kind of like, okay, but only the rich.
Yeah, to be like tomorrow we're having a wedding. It's going to be us two. My dad is a witness. This priest, my manservant, and then my enemy and my frenemy.
Yeah, yeah. My partner in crime and the guy we commit all the crimes against. Yeah, it was an odd episode. And then, of course, it's like you can almost count on Goliath to do the wrong thing because he is so fucking predictable.
Yeah.
That,
it's very predictable. It's like, I want you to be in my wedding. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Demona will be there. Okay, maybe I'll be there.
Well, it's like he's had the episode for a season, for the whole first season. So, like, when he was trying to be like, no, humans are good, come back with us, like, be one of ours. Like, why didn't he just show the fucking thing? Like, remember when you gave me this? Like, why did they have to have the flashback of, they give tokens to each other? Oh, that's so nice. And she's like, I pledge myself to you, I'll always love you. And then, of course, he goes right back to, you fucking die, Goliath, I hate you. Like, it's just, I get it. The episode has to play that way to have the episode, but it's just...
it's also, they probably didn't write the Phoenix Gate into the second season or whatever.
Well, she even says it. Oh, Goliath, you poor sentimental fool. Like, you're so predictable, and I'm going to cast a spell real quick. And he's just like, okay, we're kind of fucked.
Oh, you're casting that spell? That's pretty interesting. What's it going to do? Oh, I guess you're going back in time.
And then she dips. She, like, deposits them, and then she dips out. Yeah, and they're just like, I guess this is just what we do now. And then I thought it was interesting of her going back and talking to her younger self, just being like, I'm going to save you a lot of fucking problems and just tell you all the bullshit. And still her being like, it doesn't matter if you are me in the future. I don't want to become you. Yeah. And she still becomes her.
Because then it's when you're 16 or whatever, imagine your super old self came back and be like, stop believing in things, you stupid little bastard. And you're like, fuck off, old man. I'm not going to be like you. And then you go through all that shit anyway, and you're like, no, I turned out old and crotchety anyway.
I mean, personally, if I walked through that front door right now and was like, okay, I need you to go and spend every penny that you have on this particular fucking thing, and like stop being nice to these people, I would do that to the letter.
See, that's the difference. Is you're an older, wizened man. Go back to your like 16-year-old self or whatever, and be like, dude, stop doing all this shit. It's going to mess up for you.
No. It'd be the 80-year-old me coming to me now.
It would be more of the 80-year-old self going back to the young self.
Oh, no. If it was the... Okay, if you put it that way, it'd be the me now going to my younger self being like, stop doing drugs.
Yeah.
Don't drink.
Yeah.
Don't sleep with one of your friends' girlfriends. And then just, be a good guy through your 20s. And I'd be like, take a hike.
Which I think is probably more akin to it, because she's young, she just got married essentially, and then this old crotchety version that looks exactly like she does essentially comes back and is like, stop doing all the things you like, or you're gonna be angry because look, be angry. She's like, yeah, this isn't real. You're just some phantasm from the future, or some phantasm come back to try to mess up the good path I'm already on.
Right. And I also like Hudson had to do the overly excitable girl thing, where like Goliath showed up and he was like, and Goliath had to do the, okay, I'm gonna remove my hand, but don't scream, okay?
I'm future me, that's past me.
I'm gonna do it. I mean, how do you explain that? Even with the first thing that comes out of his mouth is sorcery. And he's like, okay, you're right.
It's sorcery.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and there's probably nothing I'm gonna say that's gonna make you more comfortable with this situation, but let's try.
Yeah. And then for the rest of Hudson's life, to never mention that to the younger Goliath, to be like, can't mess with the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like you could have done something. Like, he knew that Demona was going to become a major shitheel.
I don't know if I don't know that Hudson necessarily knows that. Just that, like, hey, there's his angel flying around or whatever. Wonder what he keeps flying after. I wonder what's going on. Just being like, look, don't let younger me talk to them. I'm going to deal with this shit. And it's more of like, hey, you trust me, right? Well, then just do what I want you to, please.
I guess it was an odd episode, but it was a fun episode.
Yeah, pretty much anything with time travel, you just gotta like compartmentalize that because it's never going to make sense.
And then of course you get this scene where it's like it was the old guy, the wizard. When he's walking away, he's just like, I'm gonna fucking
the Archmage.
Yeah, and like him muttering to himself, it's like, oh, okay, that's where everything is fucking wrong, apparently.
It's like, at least I can blame the Phoenix Gate disappearing on the people that showed up and disappeared real quick.
Yeah, she's a good scapegoat, and so you can see the problems that are coming compound right there.
Oh, yeah.
So
because they build up. That's not the last we'll see of the Archmage, is it? Is what I'll say.
But yeah, spoilers. Even for me, I'm not sure what he's talking about, but I'm sure he's right.
But basically, I could say, character, we're going to see them again, and that's probably going to be true.
I think everyone just comes back, right?
Are there characters we've met that aren't like ancillary sub-characters that we don't see again? I don't know. I know we see Macbeth again, we see Demona again, we see more of Xanatos, more Fox, more of the Pack.
And here's the other thing. Once again, Xanatos has the script. He gets married to his beautiful wife.
Yep.
They teleport back in. Like apparently, Goliath can cast spells.
Well, he heard it twice at that point.
No,
but spells are easy in this world. I think you have to be able to say it, and you have to see the magic, and you have to speak the magic, or some weird like thing like that. So he heard the words, he can say the words. Then that's all you need for magic.
So literally, if like I saw someone that was like abracadabra and threw a fireball, I'd just be like, abracadabra. But as long as I had the focus.
Yeah, and generally, a lot of times like you're casting spells from a book or from a page. You don't see like Demona shooting out spells. Whenever you see her casting magic, she's got the book, or she's doing a thing. So you kind of need like this book is power. Me speaking the words on the book's page is what produces said power.
Okay. Well, I mean, she knew exactly what to say with the Phoenix Gate, so that was something that she'd been. But I think it was like 6 words. Hobbida doobity hobbida doobity hobbida, and then it was like boom. You're. That's a very powerful thing to have a fucking combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
In 5e terms, it would be go back in time as an action.
Yeah, and like completely fuck something up. Or just exist. Yeah. No, it was almost kind of like. Well, no, it takes 6 seconds to do, so yeah, it would be an action. But this episode was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Again, I thought it was another one of those ones that was well plot out, and it shows you the Illuminati goes all the way back to the fucking nines or whatever.
993 is that how? 984 is that how far?
Something like that. But
so we need time because that was Catherine's parents. We need time for Catherine to be born. We get. I think a lot of this episode is Xanatos being like, "Look, Dad, I made all this money myself. Aren't you proud of me?" And he's like, "Here's a penny.
What's this for?
All you care about is money. So in 1,000 years, maybe it'll be worth something." So it's just kind of like, you didn't earn my respect. It's just you've only ever cared about money. This whole excursion was about money.
As soon as he walked off camera, Xanatos was like, "Owen, I want you to take the house I bought him, and the car I bought him, and the boat I bought him. Because if he doesn't appreciate what I built for myself, then why cut him in on it?"
Well, we don't know if he has. It could be like, "Dad, do you want me to buy your house now?" It's like, "Look, I've bought you all. I can afford all these great things for you." Like, I'll earn what I want. You didn't earn what you got. I'll earn it myself.
He still showed up in the helicopter.
Yeah.
It's like, "Dad, I'm going to fly you out," and be like, "No, I'll take a cab.
It could be too.
I'll spend my money." Oh, and then Fox is a fucking pilot?
Sure.
Yeah, why not? It's just marry me. Okay, we're husband and wife. I'm now one of the richest people in New York City. I had my last pilot turn into a cat man.
Well, Hyena and Jackal were pilots too. They had an attack helicopter. How come these people are flying helicopters? They're mercenaries.
I guess it's part of the action character TV show curriculum.
You have to learn how to fly an attack helicopter.
Sure, why not? I mean, if Lexington can do it in one episode, why not them?
Yeah, Lexington built a helicopter in one episode.
And learned to fly it.
Fox learned how to fly. Cartoon. And it's a cartoon show for kids.
Well, I mean, I almost feel like we should go back and do these like in a couple of years where we like overanalyze, like become super sensitive to everything that happens and be like totally fake, unrealistic,
Super cynical.
Yeah, and gargoyles again. Don't make me say it.
If they were
don't exist.
If they got turned to stone for 1,000 years, erosion would happen, and they'd obviously be dead by now.
Yeah. No, their wings would have like holes and matted, and so I just thought of it. Mm-hmm. So if Demona is now a human during the day,
Yep.
Does that mean she never heals?
That's I'd be curious about that, except for I know the answer to that. I don't know if you want me to tell you.
I don't.
That's a good question.
There are things. So I've actually started to go and start trying to take little notes here and there, because I do know they seed certain things as they go along. And I was trying to remember some of the finer beats, and the problem is that they're coming to me as we're going along. Mm-hmm. So, but okay.
So there is an answer for that, but that is an interesting question.
Okay. Well, how long do I have to wait before my question gets answered?
Let's find out. So let's see.
Is it this season at least?
That's next month. That's 2 months. That's 3 months. 4 months.
Okay. Well, I'll have completely forgotten by that time. So I won't remember this shit tomorrow. So, okay. But anything else you wanted to bring up about this particular episode?
No, I don't think so. I think this is a good batch. I think we got 4 pretty decent episodes. Mm-hmm. I think 2 that were stellar. Like, Vows is fun. I mean, I rated it about the same as Eye of the Beholder. Mm-hmm. Just because it's fun. You get to go back in time. You get to see Goliath and Demona be their young selves and then their older, cynical selves. Mm-hmm. Reminds me of us playing tabletop games. We start as our young level 1 characters, and then by level 17, our characters come back. And imagine playing your level 1 character and someone from the future comes back and be like, all this awful shit's going to happen to you. And you're like, man, you're just some old guy. You're level 17. I don't believe all that stuff's going to happen. And then you live it. And then you turn into it.
Yeah, and eventually, right before you're about to go back in the past, you're like, this is some bullshit. I got to go tell myself.
It's like, I just got 9th level spells. I'm going to cast Wish. I'm going to go back in time, tell younger me not to do any of this stuff, and just buy a farm.
So I wonder if there's like an actual loop there, like a boot loop, where it's like I have to go back and tell myself, and it's like, don't do this, don't go into here, and don't do that. Make this decision. And you're like, whatever, old man. Mm-hmm. Then you live to that point again, and you're like, I didn't listen to him the first time. Maybe I just need to be more emphatic. Yeah. So it's like by the time they came back like the 20th time, like it was like, I need it louder and with your mouth open. Like, you know, you're trying to emote as much as possible to make you know that you're not going to listen, but you have to try.
I wonder if ultimately you only get that one chance.
You only get one shot.
Well, it's because it's a loop, and it sounds like the way it seems like in this show, if something happens in the future, it's going to happen in your past or whatever. Like, it's going to happen now. You're not going to live through it and then see the past version of it. It's kind of like this loop exists in time.
Okay, and so it just...
when you come across it, it's happening that first time. The loop never got created. It always existed.
But I mean...
Which is weird, and
so
you can't really grasp in some ways.
Well, but I mean, that's the thing about time.
Yeah, it's time travel stupid.
Yeah, but like you know, I didn't listen, and here I am. And I have the opportunity to go back and do it again. So am I more emphatic this time?
Well, it's even like when Demona gets out of it, she's like, I heard your little speech. It didn't change a thing.
It seemed like it did. You seemed like you were really on board with like staying with me at the time.
But that's also when she was already in a relationship with young him. Like essentially during their wedding day too, because they're kind of like, hey, when humans commit themselves to each other eternally, they exchange gifts. Let's exchange these gifts, and that's kind of like let's pretend we're married.
And she's the one that like and that's the thing I hate about Demona. It's like once she's established as who she is, she's one note. I don't know if that changes later on in episodes. Like I said, I don't remember. I know that she's got some stuff coming up with other characters, and she's been doing some shit in 1,000 years that, you know, she wasn't sleeping. But still, it's just kind of like, get a new hobby. Like, go, if you hate humans so much, just like go randomly start snatching them off the street and dropping them from like 500 feet.
I think next month when we watch City of Stone. So next month is going to be City of Stone 1 through 4. We're essentially watching a mini movie all about like Demona and one of her schemes. We're going to learn a bit about their past. And you'll see other little... I mean, for the most part, Demona's Demona. And whenever she starts doing something else, it's like her cynical self kicks in and be like, no, stop. Stop doing that. Be like, maybe that puppy's cute. No, fuck puppies. I don't want to... Stop doing that. Don't be like that. So it's like... It tries to kick back into being just, a bad word. I don't want to say that on the internet.
It works. It's the B word.
Yeah, I'll tell you afterwards.
C word?
Essentially, yes.
Okay. I'm not going to say it either.
Yeah.
So
anything else we want to add for...
I really want to say it. No, I'm not going to say it. Not really. The only thing I want to point out is that we completely ran over the episode where we did not talk about Matt Bluestone one time, who is by far the most interesting character in all of Gargoyles history.
He's there, and you learn he's got a partner, and that comes back later.
Yeah, but
whatever. It's Matt's interested in the Illuminati. We learn the Illuminati's real in this episode.
Mm-hmm. And then he does
that Xanatos is an Illuminati.
And then he does the whole line of, sorry, I had this thing and I didn't tell you, and you're my partner. And she's like, man, it happens. And it's like, I'm sure that's going to be like...
It's like, hey, partners are supposed to tell each other everything about everything. It's like, no, it's okay. You can keep secrets.
Yeah, and then
it's fine if you want to keep secrets.
I'm sure later on he's going to reel back and be like, you didn't tell me about the gargoyles and yada, yada, yada. And she'd be like, hey, I let you off the hook back then. You can get up my fucking nuts about this shit now. But I'm sure he's going to be super butthurt about it. So if I remember the Matt Bluestone stuff like I thought, but... Oh God, how many months for that, Nick?
It's not that one.
Oh, next recording.
It's not that one. Jeez, it's a good chunk away, I think. It's not there.
It's because he's not in any of those episodes until the one you run into, and it's like...
Yeah, I don't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
It's not that important.
Not really.
It's
Bluestone sucks.
Many moons.
Yeah. Bluestone sucks. He's not a great character. All right. Well, I think we can put a fork in this.
All right. Well, join us next week for old school versus new school, or not? Oh, for Have You Seen?
Yes.
And join us in a month for City of Stone.
Yeah. Did we want to tell them what we're going to watch and Have You Seen?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I think I do, because I think it was my turn.
Yes.
And I think it's Jennifer's Body.
Yes.
I think that's the April one coming up.
Yes. Okay.
No. That was the one that came. This is the April.
And see, this is why we don't do this.
That's why sometimes you're like, what happened? And yeah. I think next month is the Nick Cage one.
Nick Cage.
Yeah, the one you wanted to watch with Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. What's it? The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yes.
I think that's next week.
Okay. Stay tuned.
Yeah, one we've not actually recorded yet.
Yeah, one of the rare occasions. But all right, guys.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.